welcome. This is, I guess, a long time coming. It's been a minute. We haven't been around since I think February. It's summertime, summer love. Welcome to this year's first episode of the Destination Fantasy Podcast. As you see, things are a little different. I still got my boy Deshaun here. What's up, bro?
I'm all right, man. How you feel this morning?
Man, I'm feeling great. We back. But also introducing our guy for this year. This is Mr. Ian Jones. Sometimes he can go by Peoples Hernandez. Sometimes he can go by Rod Tidwell. If you know that movie, you know what we're talking about. We can go on and on. He could go by Willie Beeman next week. But anyway, Ian, what's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm good. How you fellas doing, man? Appreciate you having me on.
No, it's all good. We're feeling great, So, fellas, it's just want to say I'm glad to be back. Doing this on a Sunday. It's been a minute. It's definitely been a minute. We seen a lot has happened in the off season here. We been patient about it. Waited to see everything through. If I'm not mistaken, teams are basically done with OTAs, so we about at a 4 to 5 week hiatus until training camp, and then that's when we get back to the nitty gritty apparently. But before we start deep diving into this stuff, we're gonna go by division. Is there, anything of note you guys want to share? Anything in general, or you just want to dive into it?
First and foremost, man, I want to say Happy Father's Day to you guys, and Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I got my morning started right. Like my family surprised me this morning, so I'm already in pretty good spirits, bro. So yeah.
Man, same to you, bro. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there.
Definitely happy Father's Day to each and every one of you all. Father figures, everybody that plays the role. Fathers are very important for a child. The adage, it takes a village. That's a real thing, but it definitely starts with the foundation. But today we celebrating Father's Day. All right. So, with that being said, let's get to it. We're gonna start with Deshaun's favorite division, the AFC North. All right, so the Steelers. We're gonna start with your favorite team, the Steelers. Outside of, I guess, acquiring Allen Robinson, if I'm not mistaken, I think you might be on the bandwagon of your boy Najee again. Is this accurate?
Yes. It's look. I know that he didn't have the season that most people predicted last year. He was going. Some people was even taking him late in like the first round, but ADP wise, he was, he somewhere landed around the early second to mid second round pick, and he didn't quite give you the numbers that he expected, but he ended with a pretty strong back end of like the season. But we got a revamped offensive line. Kenny Pickett has another year under center. The things that we have, that I heard that we've done in like the off season. He's fully healthy now. Like that's what I've been hearing. More nimble, more agile. A lot of people didn't know that he was dealing with the foot injury early in the season. He did not, hint about that. He didn't want to make that a big deal, but he was actually playing with like a metal piece inside of his cleat to, kind of stunning his mobility a little bit. But dude, like I'm really high up on Najee this season. Like I really am.
No, I can definitely see that. And before we continue, our super loyal fan, Jen, she said Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. We would definitely get to that. But she also said, "Hi, Ian." She welcome you on.
How you doing?
So yeah, I definitely can't wait to get to the Jets here. But Najee, I could definitely see that. I mean, a lot of hype coming from him out of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the Steelers, as a whole, as a longevity of their franchise, they've had stellar running backs in their tenure. And so we want to, basically want to make sure Najee is that guy going forward. And so I I think I'm gonna be buying some Najee stock this year for sure.
I would. I really would.
Cool. Let's go to one of your rivals, the Ravens. Ian, Lamar Jackson finally resigned. They added Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
They drafted Zay Flowers, new offensive coordinator, offensive system. Do you have any expectations for the Ravens as a whole? Anybody that stands out to you?
It should be actually, I will have a big expectation from Lamar. Actually, it should be a big year for him. He's healthy, new deal, new weapons. So I feel like he should have a big year, especially through the air. I feel like he should have a big year.
Definitely. As far as Lamar for me, I'm definitely high on Lamar just because not only the weapons, but the new scheme. It's not going to be so much run based. So yeah, it could take away from his floor a little bit, but I feel like the ceiling might be actually a little higher for him. Maybe he won't be nicked up as much because he's always running around anymore.
Nope.
Maybe, they're going to throw the ball about 25 to 30 times a game. Maybe balance it out. Maybe you don't see design runs for him, but in longevity, you ain't got to worry about Lamar only playing 9 or 10 games. Maybe he may play the full 16 that you need to get it done, or 17, whatever it is these days. So yeah. Sean, anybody from Baltimore that you like?
I think you guys pretty much touched on it. This is going to be a pretty big year for Lamar Jackson, not only in in real life, but as far as fantasy football. I mean, you gotta kind of keying up on the weapons that he has there. You already mentioned the signing of Zay Flowers. Well, him via draft, that is, and the signing of Odell Beckham Jr. Not only that, you get a healthy Rashad Bateman coming back, who missed a bunch of time from his foot injury. And as well as J.K. Dobbins inside the backfield. You get a healthy J.K. returning to that offense. You already know what they can do with Mark Andrews, who arguably, fantasy-wise, it has been the top 2 tight end over the past couple years. So, I mean, that offense is looking pretty explosive, man, on paper. That is, but that's all I'm going to be able to give it them. I don't want to spend too much time talking about Baltimore, man. So.
Oh, my bad. All right, and then of course Cincinnati. I mean, I got Mr. Chase on today.
No, you don't, man. No,
I got Mr. Hey, man, when your first
disrespect.
name is tied in with greatness, man, it's just you got to deal with. No, but I feel like Cincinnati is, that's one of those what's understood ain't got to be explained.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Nothing's changed. I expect everything from everybody from last year, this year. And then Cleveland. I think Cleveland is an interesting one because you got a year under here. Deshaun Watson here. I think that rust factor is probably going to be, non-existent this season. No Kareem Hunt. So Chubb is the guy for sure right now.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper's there. They traded for Elijah Moore. He's trying to get his boy D-Hop there. We'll see what happens, but nevertheless, I do have, some high fantasy expectations for Deshaun Watson, for Nick Chubb, even though we always feel like Nick Chubb is that guy, but I still feel like Nick Chubb can finish, top 3, top 2.
Oh, easily.
So, yeah, if you guys got any thoughts on the Browns, let me know.
I think you pretty much hit on it, Jamar. From a fantasy perspective, that is, Nick Chubb is the guy. No more Kareem Hunt. But you kind of saw that there was a changing of the guard. Kareem Hunt wasn't used as much down the stretch of last year, so they were kind of gearing towards that. I like the Elijah Mitchell. I'm sorry, the Elijah Moore, wide receiver signing. I like that a lot because a lot of people had this guy as one of the best wide receivers when he came out of college, and hopefully he can get a chance there to gain some rapport with Deshaun Watson. So that's going to be a player that I'm going to keep my eye on. Amari Cooper has been pretty he's just been the standard of 1,000 yards and, just 7 to 8 touchdowns. So Coop gonna be Coop. But I expect a big leap from Deshaun Watson as well as Elijah Moore.
Definitely. Ian, do you have anything with that, or you want to keep it moving?
You can keep it moving. I think Deshaun touched it. I think my biggest take for Cleveland, definitely Elijah Moore. He don't have to worry about being that 1A or 1B guy. He's gonna be that number 2 guy. So I think he'll have a big year. Also, maybe Njoku, he'll have a pretty big year.
Oh yeah,
well.
yep.
He'll probably have a pretty big year as well.
He was pretty good down the stretch last year, bro. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
So
before the injury, he was solid.
Like you say, Deshaun shaking off that rust. Heard he's been looking pretty good so far in training camp, so these off-season programs. So we're gonna see.
We definitely will. So, so Jen's concerned about being one of my Bears fans now. So it wasn't by design, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, that is a perk on my side here. So we won't overdo it. Bear down though.
Oh boy. Here we go.
On a side note, she is happy Lamar got his money.
Well deserved.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could probably spend about a good 10-15 minutes talking about that whole fiasco. I'm gonna just leave that one alone. But I am at the end of the day, I'm glad he got paid. You know what? We're gonna do let's jump into the AFCs. Let's jump into the Jets. Now, I'm sad to see Disney Channel quarterback Zach Wilson not on the field anymore.
Are you really?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Are you really?
It's like, I'm not going to be able to, say his name as much these days unless, Mr. Rodgers ends up getting hurt. But anyway, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. Thank goodness. With that being said, it's an instant upgrade to, I feel like, everybody across the board, especially Garrett Wilson. I am high on him. I think both of you all as well. I mean, he was a stud coming out. Ian knows because he came from your wide receiver factory these days, Ohio State.
Basically, man.
But yeah, I'm stoked about Garrett. I'm stoked about Breece Hall whenever he comes back and healthy from that ACL injury, because he probably would have won Rookie of the Year last year if he didn't get hurt the way he was performing.
Most definitely.
But yeah, just as far as Aaron Rodgers, I want to specifically talk about him because the last couple years in Green Bay, as far as his fantasy value, I mean, it hasn't been the most stellar. He's been rocky. Last year was abysmal. But what do you think as far as his ceiling this year, and is he gonna hit that ceiling?
Well, as far as his ceiling, like, I know that we can spend all day talking about the offensive side of the ball, but it's also the defensive side of the ball, which I think that's going to help Aaron Rodgers with a little bit more time being on the field. Like, that defense is young; those guys will get after it. That's going to lead to more opportunities for that offense. We already mentioned Ohio State great Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, like guys like that. Like, those guys they're loaded basically, and I think Garrett Wilson does have the potential to finish as a top 5 to 7 wide receiver in football this year with Aaron Rodgers there. We saw what Aaron Rodgers did with Devontae Adams for that number of years. I like Garrett Wilson a lot for that reason. And man, honestly, I think Aaron Rodgers, this can be a year in which he'll get to, like, I don't want to put too much on it. I'll say he can definitely finish. He's definitely going to finish somewhere inside the top 10. But I mean, maybe you can see him sneak around like that 8 to 10 mark. Like, I think that's where I would pretty much keep him, because it's a couple more other running backs there that like to run the ball a little bit more, which I can see, adding a little bit more fantasy value with their legs. So, but I think this is going to be a return, from Aaron Rodgers' glory days. Not MVP year Aaron Rodgers, but I think he's going to be. I think people are going to be more willing to take a chance on him with the way how this offense and how the Jets team is set up.
All right, so Aaron Rodgers is QB1 this year then.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you already mentioned it. Like they were basically one quarterback away, right, from actually being competitive inside, that division. And we already know in that division, Miami's tough. They still have Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and we already know what Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and those Buffalo Bills, what they bring to the table. So I mean, it's going to kind of be like a dogfight at the top of that division, and that's going to be a division I'm going to closely keep my eye on. It's going to be a lot of football games that's going to be worth the watch in that division.
It should be, right? Because I don't want to look, because last year at this time we had the expectations of the AFC West being that division, and that turned out to be my God.
That's funny. Dude. That's funny. I mean, on paper though, that's all we can kind of go by, right?
Yeah, and maybe the AFC West might be that division this year, a year under the belt with some new changes. Who knows? But I mean, yeah, I am definitely going to be tuned into the AFC East this year. I mean, Jen says Mr. Wilson going to be top 5 wide receiver.
Why not though?
The ceiling is there.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude last year, if I'm not mistaken, had around 85 catches, had over 1,100 yards with Disney Channel quarterback Zach Wilson and the great Mike White. Like I mean, and you got a cerebral assassin. You got the Aaron Rodgers out there as your quarterback. That's going to throw the ball more accurately. That's going to throw you wide open, even though you can get wide open by yourself.
Yep.
And Jen's right. I mean, part of me forgets and part of me just like don't care about Aaron Rodgers, but more so last year, he did have a thumb injury. I mean, a thumb injury, when you're trying to, throw a football, that thumb is mightily important. So, I mean, yeah. The Bills Mafia. Your boy Josh Allen got probably one of the dopest Madden covers of all time.
Man, that Madden cover
probably
is
the
fire.
dopest. The deluxe edition is that embodies everything that Bills Mafia is. Yep. If you haven't seen this, basically Josh Allen celebrating in the stands with his guys, with the Mafia themselves. It's so dope. But anyway, last year we had the expectations of Josh Allen, being the guy. I mean, going into last season, there was talk that Josh Allen was arguably the best quarterback in the league. From a fantasy standpoint, he was being drafted as the number 1 quarterback last year. And yet for the most part, he played like it, but the turnovers, and more so from a real football standpoint, the timely turnovers in the red zone, I mean, that does not get it done. And so, the Madden cover got the quote unquote Madden curse, blah, 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 blah. But Josh Allen, like, what are your expectations for Josh Allen this year? Are you drafting him as the first quarterback off the board this year still? Like, what are you thinking with this one?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna say yeah. I'm still gonna drop him as the number 1 quarterback off the board. Look, it's either Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, right? It's gonna be either one of those two guys, and it's we're kind of splitting atoms, right? Patrick Mahomes can throw for 50 touchdowns in any given season with his eyes closed, with probably some janitors or some car salesmen or whatever. He's just that good. But the one thing that keeps Josh Allen afloat is his ability to run the football. Those rushing touchdowns add up. We already saw what that did to Jalen Hurts' value of last year, and now he's arguably a top 3 quarterback inside the league. And your boy, which we're gonna get to soon, Justin Fields, his rushing TDs that he had. Look, make no mistake about it. That's a passing TD is a little bit different than a rushing TD as far as fantasy football. You get the full 6.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And passing, depending upon most leagues, is either 4 or 5 points. So that rushing to TD, it really makes that big of a difference. But either way, if you pick Josh Allen, I pick Patrick Mahomes. We both win, right? we both got the two best quarterbacks up off the board. So, but as far as Josh Allen ceiling this year, man, like I think he can be just as high as Patrick Mahomes. I still think Patrick Mahomes still finished higher than him last year, if I'm not mistaken. But it was like very, very slight. But you mentioned it, Jamar, those turnovers, and not just any turnovers, the costly ones, the red zone turnovers. Like he's gonna have to cut down upon that. And for him to be mentioned with the name of the Joe Burrows and the Patrick Mahomes, and now even the Jalen Hurts, he's gonna have to step his game up a little bit.
Facts. I mean, bro, you said Patrick Mahomes throwing to car salesman. The first thing that came to mind, like he about to throw a 10-yard slant to Matilda's dad, though.
Hey, Mr. Wormwood looked like he played like a slot receiver or something like that.
Oh man. And I know we, kind of talked about Josh Allen last week on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Saturday mornings, you can catch it live on Facebook. But as far as a fantasy standpoint, what are you thinking as far as Josh Allen this year?
If it's Josh Allen on the board, I'm gonna take him every time. Actually, I had Josh Allen last year. As you guys stated, the turnovers hurt him. So, as long as he's consistent, I think that's the most important thing. As long as he's consistent, and any quarterback with that dual threat mindset, it's an easy grab for me off the board every time. And especially with Josh Allen, the way he can throw the ball and he can maneuver, and getting red zone to get those more rushing touchdowns, like Deshaun stated. I'm gonna take him every time, as long as he's just consistent and stay off the turnover board. Then I'm all for it.
Man, and Jim Bross did the Bills cancel mini camp? And she said they did after 2 days. I wonder, was that like part of the Stephon Diggs like situation? I don't know. I think have you all heard about that one?
Yeah, I heard about it briefly, but I didn't know that they shut it down completely. About like, I guess it was something that happened between those two outside of football, which they want to keep outside of football. They don't want to let too many people in on exactly what happened with them two. But I mean, Diggs said that everything was good as of maybe a couple of days ago. Diggs did actually report they were actually worried about whether he was going to actually, come to camp. But yeah, he showed up, and whatever, personal was going on between him and Josh Allen, I think they, hashed it out. So. Which is good for fantasy purposes, bro. Like, seriously.
Yeah, because Diggs had a monster year last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. They make each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, because remember a couple of years ago when they had the bromance cover with the airplanes and stuff?
Yeah.
Man, yeah, we need that back. So, yeah, Bills. I'm hoping Gabe Davis actually, like do something, like, because last year was very frustrating for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then really quick before we move on to the next team, Jen says, I don't think Allen is on Mahomes' level. He needs to win something because Pat wins everything.
I mean, she ain't lying. She definitely ain't lying about that.
Yeah, got to get over that hump for sure.
You do. I mean, watching like Josh Allen from a fantasy standpoint reminds me of a prime Cam Newton so much.
It's
but
crazy,
he's
right?
more polished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man. Miami Dolphins. This team is basically a Tua away from a Super Bowl at this point. Dalvin James Cook is rumored to go there, and we know Dalvin Cook is on the Bills. So if his brother, joins his division rival there, add that with the fastest wide receiver group I've ever seen in my life. They already had two decent running backs, but you add James Cook to that. Wow. Mike Gesicki, if I'm not mistaken, he's a New England Patriot now. But just all in all, like Cheetah, Waddle, like those two was like stellar last year. Do you think these two can finish top 10 this year together?
Both. Again, like it's as long as look, they did it even when Tua was going through his concussion protocol. Which shout out to Tua, he put on like a little bit more muscle. Like it was noticeable in like the pictures, like you can see like a before and after. Him putting up on that muscle, being able to endure those hits. But he was also heard that he's working with someone about the correct way to fall. You know what I mean? Whenever he sees taking a hit, and to see the things that Tua had to endure and like the hits, it was pretty scary. As a dad of a son who plays football, I think sometimes getting back to the fundamentals of how to do things, even a certain way how to land, I think that that's good because at the end of the day, you got to protect your investment. If something is to happen to you, then you're not worth a dime. But Tua, and as long as Tua is healthy and upright in that offense, man, sky's the limit for those two wide receivers. Like you said, Jamar, I cannot think of a faster duo that I've ever seen as far as wide receivers go. Cheetah on one side, Jaden Waddle on the other. Pick your poison. Like one of them dudes gonna house it every single time.
Man, Ian, how confident are you? I mean, Deshaun discussed the wide receivers, but as far as Tua, if he, if we expect him to be healthy for a full season, concussions aside, like, are you drafting Tua this year?
Me personally, would I draft Tua? I wouldn't bet on him, just because of the health factor. But I mean, he definitely has the weapons. He has the weapons to have a big year. I mean, every year that he's in Miami, and even if they get Dalvin Cook, that'll just take them to another level offensively. So, I mean, if somebody was to grab Tua, it wouldn't be a bad grab, barring injury and health issues. But me personally, I don't know.
I feel you there. And then last but not least, or last but very least, the New England Patriots here. The only thing I would say with this one is, and the only question I have for both of you all, if DeAndre Hopkins did decide to join New England, like how would you view DeAndre Hopkins' value?
DeAndre Hopkins is a wide receiver that has shown over the course of his career, man, he don't need a stellar wide receiver to become a wide receiver one in fantasy football. Like he's going to get his numbers. He's just that good. And I do think it's a 90% chance that D-Hop signs with the Patriots at this point. I think he probably will end up being a Patriot. He had a very, very good relationship with Bill Belichick, and they have a mutual respect for each other. Like it's already been documented well before, his, him being released from the Cardinals. I just think that D-Hop will be D-Hop. I don't care who's under center.
Facts. You feel the same way?
Yeah. He's had arguably probably 15 quarterbacks in his career. And every year he's just going to be consistent. Besides, the injury years, but he's going to put up numbers regardless who's back there. It don't matter.
Yeah, that's facts. I mean, he had a quarterback named Tom Savage at one point. Tells you everything you need to know there. All right, so go to the South. Because I feel like the South, even though, it was kind of underwhelming overall, but I feel like it's still a little interesting here. We can start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I feel like is the clear-cut runaway in this division right now. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a trifecta here that all of us are very high on Calvin Ridley's return to football.
Oh, extremely high, man. Like we saw what this dude did in Atlanta, and like you add him with Christian Kirk and Sunshine and Evan Ingram there, and you got Travis Etienne in the backfield. I mean, hey, yo, this offense is pretty scary, man. They got a true, legitimate number one wide receiver now. That's just gonna bring Trevor Lawrence. I just think it's gonna take him into another tier. I think it's gonna take him from tier 3 to possibly knocking on the door of like a tier 1. Jamar, like I've already said it as soon as I found out that Calvin Ridley was going there. I'm like, yo, like Trevor Lawrence is just gonna. We've seen that with We seen it with Josh Allen. Him getting like a quarterback. We've seen it with various quarterbacks that once they get that one wide receiver, it can excel their game. And I just think, honestly, man, it's gonna be like a match made in heaven. I don't know what they're doing defensively over there. They need some help. But as far as like that offense, dude, very, very good offense.
Definitely. Ian, like,
I think my I think my personal interest to look out for is like he stated, Christian Kirk. Bringing Calvin really back. You know, all the attention is going to be on him. He's arguably going to be the number one over there, and you know that puts Christian Kirk against the two corner number 3. You know, you could put him in a slot. You could put him basically anywhere. He had a damn pretty good year last year, so I expect probably an even bigger year, if not, you know, just a year like he had last year.
Christian Kirk, if I'm not mistaken, did he finish top 10? He was up there.
Give me a second. I'll fact check that for you, bro.
Man. And then in the meantime, Ray Ray is back. He said, "Hi guys, haven't seen you since football season. Just sitting here listening as I have my coffee now." I know, Ray. It's been a minute. It's been quite a while. But we just want to show our faces. We just wanted to, let the offseason, take care of itself so we can be back. But yeah, appreciate you joining us, Ray.
So, sorry, Jamar. Christian Kirk finishes as wide receiver 12. Man, that's pretty damn good, bro.
1,100 yards, 88 touchdowns.
Well,
sheesh.
Wide receiver 12. So he finished over notable names like Terry McLaurin, Brandon Ayuk, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, and Mike Evans. So that's a pretty man. Yeah.
I mean, this is a slot receiver last year that was used as a number 1 that came in and did his thing.
So you couple that with Calvin. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's gonna be tough, bro.
And the only thing left is the only question mark is, did Calvin really forget how to play football? I don't think so, but it's like if you get Calvin really at least 80% to what he was 2 years ago, then it's like look out. And I expect, as the season goes on, Calvin really numbers will get stronger. I that's what I expect. The rust factor in the beginning wears that off real quick. Jacksonville's a juggernaut. There you go. So the rest of the teams in the division drafted quarterbacks. That's what makes this, I think, pretty interesting. I want to start with the prototype freak of nature in Indianapolis and Anthony Richardson and that group. I want to say that Anthony Richardson will probably be the week 1 starter based on little things that I'm hearing from a distance. And if so, like what kind of impact would that have on, Jonathan Taylor or Michael Pittman or just in general, Anthony Richardson himself? Like, what are expectations here?
I think it's going to take away from Pittman a little bit, but give a little bit to Jonathan Taylor, because when you have like a rookie quarterback, you kind of want to run the ball a little bit more and get that quarterback a little bit more acclimated with being up under center. They don't want to take too many chances out there. So I look for Jonathan Taylor to be used early in offense. Like you mentioned, Jamar, Anthony Richardson, freak of nature, basically, right? But to me, he's really, really raw. And I think he can like fine tune his mechanics and certain things, but he got that one thing that you can't teach, man. It's just that the way that he plays the game, like it can't be taught. His athleticism, a big arm, like the guy can pretty much do it all. I think if he fine tunes those things within the next couple of years, I think he'll be really adding some true fantasy value. But I don't want to get too far. I could be wrong, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself in his first year.
Gotcha. Ian, like for me, this dude reminds me of a rookie Cam Newton, but I could be wrong. But what are you thinking here?
I don't know what to expect from him. I didn't, he started the 1 year at Florida, but I didn't really see a lot from him. I seen, highlights and clips, and he's very, very athletic. Like Deshaun stated, he can athletically he can do pretty much any and everything. It's just, you know, his mechanics, and he's coming in as a rookie, doesn't have much experience as a starter. So Jonathan Taylor is going to, he's going to have a healthy load. And then, too, with him being a rookie, if he becomes a starter, and with him being a rookie, it might even take away from Jonathan Taylor, too, because the defense not going to do nothing but put 8 in the box and say, well, we're going to make Anthony Richardson beat us today. So, I mean, it's up to Anthony Richardson in that offense as he becomes a starter. So, I would say Jonathan Taylor, he would be a good grab, but it cannot be as well too.
So speaking of Taylor, and then I'll just come up with some type of assumption conclusion based on what you two saying. Jonathan Taylor, as we know, last year was the consensus number 1 pick in drafts, and it just didn't live up to that, because 2 years ago this man came on the scene late in the year and just blew everything out the water, and he still has big playability to me. Just the Colts as a whole last year just looked awful, but so my general consensus here, from based on what you two are saying, is Jonathan Taylor is, Jonathan Taylor is still going to be Jonathan Taylor. If it's not going to be by, more so the production is going to be by volume per se.
Yeah.
And probably Michael Pittman and the rest of the pass catchers is going to take a downgrade this year.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Even though, was that Carson at quarterback last year? I can't even remember at this point. Was that Carson? Matt Ryan?
Yeah, who started the season last year?
Yeah, it was Matty Ice, and then it went to Sam Ellinger, or then and then where's Waldo at quarterback? I don't know. it was pretty bad. All right, so let's go with Ian's boy. So Ian is a huge Ohio State fan, so we're gonna go with CJ Stroud and the Texans here. And Ian, I'm gonna start with you, since you a big supporter of Mr. Stroud, and I still feel like Ohio State should have beat Georgia, but we ain't gonna go there. My bad for opening old wounds there, man. So what's his name? D'Amico Ryan's coach. He's the head coach now. Got CJ Stroud. Damian Pierce is back. I think they also signed Devin Singletary. They signed Dalton Schultz. Traded away Brandon Cooks. But nevertheless, do you have any expectations for CJ? And then as far as Damian Pierce, I mean, he had a pretty good rookie year in my opinion. But can anybody excel now? Just new system, new people, stuff like that. What are you thinking?
I don't have a big expectation for him. Rookie quarterback coming in, basically a brand new situation, new head. It's just real new right now, so it could probably be an average year for CJ. I wouldn't stress on drafting him. I do have a sleeper pick for them though at receiver. The rookie, his name is Tank.
Yeah, okay.
I have a pick on him. I'm very high on him. Been very high on him. Actually mad that the Bears didn't draft him, but I'm very high on Tank Deal. So, if CJ could break out. I've heard they've been having chemistry as of lately. But this is the NFL. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, so even Ian threw us a nugget there with a sleeper pick. With that being said, Deshaun, is there anyone on this team that is worth drafting outside of Damian Pierce and his sleeper pick?
Honestly, man, I would say no. But man, he Ian broke that one down. Man, he broke it down, and I'm glad that he mentioned Tank Dell. So, as you know, or as you all probably know, or may not even know, Jamar and myself are in a dynasty league. And that was one of the players who I wanted to land, but we got this one guy named Dominique, aka Reed, and he drafted all the wide receivers from the whole draft, bro. And dude, like my face was like, are you kidding me? Now, albeit I did get B. John Robinson with the number 2 overall pick. Don't know how he slid the 2, but that's neither here nor there. But Tank Dell was one of those guys that I thought I was going to be able to get, late in the draft, but he was already taken away. So, shout out to him for going ahead and picking him. And I'm glad you brought that up, Ian, because that is a fantastic sleeper pick. The rapport that those two have right now, I heard is going to be, they both love each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's basically like a bromance. And I can see him being that one receiver that he keys in on, or, it's going to be the one that's going to get him acclimated. If he's in like a tight spot, he's probably going to be the one who he's going to throw to because of that confidence.
Yep.
So, but from a performance standpoint, nah, man, I would kind of want to stay away from like everyone here. Like Ian mentioned, quarterback not going to do too much of like first year. They're basically a project, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to D'Amico Ryans for being a head coach of a team that which he played pretty damn good for, man. So it was only a matter of time. So shout out to D'Amico Ryans.
Facts. And then the last team, the Tennessee Titans. I'm pretty sure I went on like 3 or 4 tangents last year about this team and what they did in what they shouldn't have done in all season, and look at them now. It's like there's no threat. I don't even know why DeAndre Hopkins even took a meeting with them to begin with. But that's neither here nor there. Derrick Henry, he was a little banged up last year, but before he did, I mean, he was the guy. That was running back 1 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, man, I mean, Treylon Burks, I mean, I have hopes and promise for him, but I don't know what to expect at the quarterback situation at all.
No.
You got Ryan Trashahill. You got Will or will not Levis. I don't know. And then not to mention the other guy they drafted last year. I mean, I can't even think of his name. That's how trash he was.
Malik
1
Willis.
year at Liberty. Yeah,
Malik Willis,
I'm sorry. I mean, they got 3 unknowns. I don't know what to expect, and I feel like that's just gonna hurt everybody's value. That's my opinion.
No, I mean, you're right, dude. It's not too much else to talk about. Treylon Burks would probably make a pretty good wide receiver 3, if not a wide receiver 4, because of like the quarterback play there. Like, we don't know how the quarterback play gonna be, bro. So it's like you can't really put too much stock on him. Derrick Henry gonna be Derrick Henry whenever he's healthy, but nothing else to say about this team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's Trashahill's job to lose, but we'll see.
Yep.
We'll keep it moving. All right. So in the last division in the AFC, the West, the Wild Wild West. Excuse me. I'm gonna start with the Broncos. So I feel like the Broncos this upcoming season is probably the team that we expect them to be last year, because I think Sean Payton makes a big difference. I think he would probably resurrect Russell Wilson, maybe not to the peak Russell Wilson form, but actually, somebody that you can actually start. Because boy, oh boy, Deshaun, when I had him in the main league as my quarterback number 2, yikes! And that's the league, Ian, that we start 2 quarterbacks. So needless to say, Russell Wilson didn't last too much longer in my starting lineup. I did have Justin Fields. That saved me a lot. I think I also had they wrote me off, didn't write back guy. That guy.
Oh yeah. He was great though last year.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, Russell Wilson, I think he definitely performed a lot better than last year by default. I think we actually going to see this duo, this Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy duo actually come to fruition for once. Now the running back situation, like last year was very high on Devontae Williams, but ACLs and stuff. I don't know who is the backup running back right now. I can't even think of it. If anybody could pull that one up. But all in all, I am given an uptick on these wide receivers and Russell Wilson this year. Ian, what are you thinking with this group?
I'm be honest. I'm gonna stay away from Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy, he hurt me bad last year. I mean, Jerry Judy was not my number one. So I was betting big on Jerry, and with them getting Russell Wilson, and him being the great talent that he is, and yeah, it didn't work out so well for me last year. I think he had a good week one, and that was pretty much it. And from there, it was just pretty kind of. I don't even have a word for it. I was so disappointed, bro. So, hopefully they have a new coach, new offense. Hopefully they have a better year this year. He wouldn't be a bad pick, but me personally, I'm staying away from Jerry Judy.
I get it because at the end of every year, Deshaun has a bus that he put these players on that he won't ever draft and just sends them off into the sunset somewhere.
I'm with that.
Oh man, Deshaun, what are you thinking with this group here?
Man, Sean Payton makes a hell of a difference, in my opinion. And I'm gonna have to go opposite of what Ian is saying. I like Jerry Judy this year. I like Jerry Judy with Sean Payton coming into town. Like, I get it. They were a tremendous letdown from a fantasy perspective. Not only a fantasy perspective, but a real life perspective. Like, my brother is like a diehard Broncos fan. Like, yeah, man, we got Russell Wilson. We was one quarterback away, and I mean, how many games did they win? Four games or something like that. I think it was like something like that with such a talented roster. And I think this is the year. I'm not going to get too crazy. I can see them winning maybe 9 to 10 games this year if all goes to plan. Look, that defense is still stout. I cannot say enough about Patrick Surtain, who is arguably the best corner in the league. Like, that defense is ridiculous. It is very good. Like, they have always had good corners. So I am, really keying in up on like the defense to help that offense out. The addition of Sean Payton. I really do think Jerry Judy can be a very, very strong back end wide receiver too, especially in 12-team leagues. I just hope that I'm not wrong. I hope that I'm not wrong.
You think he at minimum he's flex worthy?
Absolutely, like absolutely. That's how I see it. And again, I could be wrong, but we all know Sean Payton is an offensive mastermind. Was the HC for Drew Brees all those years when he threw for 5,000 yards and all these crazy numbers and such like that. I mean, if somebody got to get Russell Wilson, why can't it be him? So right. For Jerry Judy and Jamar, the running back that you mentioned was the pickup from Cincinnati is Samaje Perine. So, he had a pretty good productive season when Joe Mixon went out for like a couple of games. He had tremendous fantasy value as well. So just in the case that Javonte Williams can't make it out to the field as early as we like to see him, I like for Perine to be able to keep that afloat until Javonte comes back and takes over to him.
Oh, that's fair. Because last year's running back situation with them was not the most.
It was super murky, bro.
It was, especially when Melvin Gordon was there. My gosh, I'm gonna leave Melvin. I'm gonna leave him alone. But like you all stated and what Ray said, Broncos in general just always underachieving. Always.
No, he's right.
I mean, but I'm gonna tell you all a secret here to behind my curtain as far as draft strategies and things of that nature. I'm always in the offseason, always looking for players that's going to be undervalued by the masses because of recency bias. Because for good reason too, right? If we drafted Russell Wilson last year like I did, and the way that he stunk up the joint, I would be very. A part of me feels like I'd be stupid to give him another shot here, but I know at the same time, when I know that somebody, value is very, very low and, there was a tweak that may have, happened in the off season and he's still being overlooked, then those guys are on my radar. I'm not gonna draft him super high, but I'm gonna draft him to where, like, if it's like 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds in, I'm like a guy that I know that's gonna be productive, and he's still on the board, and we overlooking him because of what he done for you lately, and not more so looking at the bigger picture. If the bigger picture makes sense, then yeah, he's probably gonna end up on my team. That's how I look at things sometimes, but we're gonna leave the AFC alone because I will continue to go on and on about somebody like the Titans. I'll find my way back to the Titans and just dog them out real quick. The NFC North. And I'm home. We're home, man. This is home. You know what? I'm gonna wait for our team, but I'm gonna start with another team that, you know, that's near and dear to our hearts. Is, you know, has a little grit to it. We're gonna start with the Lions. We're gonna start with the Lions. I know, if I'm not mistaken, you know, somebody here, when we had a conversation, mentioned Jared Goff as a person to look out for. You know, Jared Goff, you know, at one point last year was sensational, sensational. But my question to Mr. Reed is, can that continue? Does that continue this year? Can he finish top 10, top 12 this year with that offense?
I'm gonna say top 10, top 12. Whew. Man, that's kind of tough. I'm gonna say yeah, man. Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Look. So the addition, so DeAndre Swift moves out. They draft Jahmyr Gibbs early, which, you know, it kind of more so had like a lot of people scratching their head. And then we see what they plan on doing with Swift. So there was a method to said madness, right? But like, you got the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, but they also ship out what's his name? TJ Hawkinson. So TJ Hawkinson is with the division rival Vikings now, but I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the tight end. I think his name is Sam Lapotra from Iowa or whatever. And it just seems like Iowa is like tight end U. Like, we already mentioned Ohio State and LSU being wide receiver U. Well, for tight ends, because that's where TJ Hawkinson comes from. You know what I mean? And like, that guy, I think he's gonna have a lot of fantasy value this year. So that should be a name that you guys should be keying in on. I think he got actually tight end one potential written all over him, especially with the way how I think that this offense is going to go. You add a healthy Jameson Williams to that mix, man, and like,
yeah. But he is suspended for the first 6 games.
Yeah, yep. So I do understand that. That was the reason for me mentioning the tight end that they signed, and that's one of the reasons why I feel like he can be a tight end one early in his young career. Look, man, Jared Goff has been great last year. Like, those guys can put up a ton of points. The only bad thing about it is they give up just as many points as they score. You know what I mean? Like, that defense needs some help. But offensively, man, I think sky's the limit for them. They got one of the better offenses inside the NFL, I believe.
Fair enough. I know Ian's a fan of Jahmyr Gibbs. What are you thinking what do you think is going to be his outlook this year?
Jahmyr Gibbs, he could be like a, you know, Alvin Kamara type guy. So I think he would be a great pick. It just, you know, depends on, you know, how they use him and, you know, what's their plans with him in that offense. Even, to be honest, even a sleeper pick could be David Montgomery in the goal line. You know, he could rack up touchdowns. Hurts my heart to say it, but I mean, he could rack up a lot of touchdowns in Detroit. So that's another guy to look out. They do have Jameson Williams, but like you stated, suspended, you know, those couple games. But I think the top player on that team, to me, would probably be St. Brown, St. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Probably be the most consistent player. He would definitely be a guy I would try to get my hands on.
And just to throw out there, because it kind of went under the radar, Marvin Jones Jr. is back with the Lions, so that's another weapon there to help Goff in that team.
Yeah.
out. So yeah, they definitely, and then the things that they done on the defensive side of the ball as well, addressing the secondary this offseason. I mean, yeah, everything comes to plan, and they really, buy into that Dan Campbell grit again. I mean, why not? Why not? Um, the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings. Justin Jefferson is just a man on a mission. That man is sensational. And this is one, and I was thinking about this yesterday, and I probably thought about it, mentioning it before in the past. When they traded away Stephon Diggs, this is probably one of the rare times that I feel like both teams won the trade. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
So Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson. We don't really have to go get too much into that. Adam Thielen departed for
Sure.
Carolina. What's his name? KJ Osborne is still there. You drafted Addison from USC, who was stouted to be like a top wide receiver entering the draft. Deshaun, you mentioned TJ Hawkinson coming from Detroit. And then at one point, they was calling this man Kirk Cochains. And, I was watching the NFL Network yesterday, and it was playing the Vikings and Bills game from last year.
Oh.
And the announcer at the beginning of the game said Kirk Cochains. I didn't even pay attention. I didn't even realize that. I thought somebody just came in. The announcer said it. I'm like, my Lord. So just all in all, is there any surprises on this offense that you think, oh, I'm sorry. How could I forget this? Alexander Madison.
Yep. There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
And guess who got him in Dynasty? I've been waiting on this one.
Oh, wow. You lucky son of a gun. Look, okay, so here's the thing. Honestly, bro, I would have thought that they would have signed some sort of veteran running back by now or made a trade for one, but it's looking like as we inch closer and closer to the season starts, which is what, 81 days, but who's counting? Who's counting, right? So I can't believe that they didn't sign another running back. Now I'm not saying that Alexander Madison has been great in absence of Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook misses a couple games every season, right? And it seems like he will be the perfect handcuff in fantasy every single year. But now, is this truly his year to shine, Jamar Ian? I can't say that it just doesn't feel right. I guess, you know what I mean. But I think he's more than capable of leading that backfield. He had a couple of multi-TD games when Cook was out. I just can't see Madison being a guy though, man. Like I just can't. Not saying that he can be, but let's get to like the rest of the offense. You already know about Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson, JJ Jettas being one of the better, arguably the best wide receiver inside the football league. So, but Jordan Addison has already went out and said that the addition of him coming to that team, they already have the best 1-2 punch wide receiver duo inside the National Football League. So I mean, you got to like the kid's confidence. And he was pretty big time at I think he came from SC, right?
Yep.
Yeah, from SC. So he was pretty big time there. So hopefully he can bring some of that swagger and like confidence to that to that receiving core. But I mean, again, on paper, they got one of the better receiving cores if Addison can live up to, the hype. So,
man. And anybody sticking out to you with this Vikings team?
For sure, Jordan Addison. But it all comes down to Kirk Cochain. it all comes down to him. They got ball. TJ Hawkinson has always been a decent grab for me.
Yep.
He's always put up numbers just consistently every week. Might not give you touchdowns every week, but he'll rack up those yards and catches like first downs, and he's a good good reliable source on third down. So I'll snag TJ Hawkinson for sure too.
Man, the longer I sit here with you guys, I like some things that slip my mind come back to reality here. I forgot. I had a nickname for Kirk Cousins, and it just came back to me, Mr. Empty
Empty
Calories.
calories, yeah.
Mr. Empty Calories. Man, so in the regular season, his calories actually was meaningful until we got to the playoffs. But I leave him alone.
Hey, but we don't really truly count the playoffs in fantasy football like that. So hey, as long as those empty calories is adding up, hey, I'm with it.
All for it.
Man. Oh boy. And then also I forgot we had our hashtags now. Deshaun, I know I'm forgetting the name up here. I know I added Alexander Madison. I know I'm forgetting somebody here. We got free DJ Moore. That was from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that man is free now.
Yep.
Free Tony Pollard. We were talking about that for a long time. I think he's free too. I know I added free Alexander Madison just now because he's free. It was somebody else. I can't put my finger on it.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch some film, but yeah, you are omitting one name.
I am. All right. Green Bay.
Should we even?
No.
Yeah,
I really don't want to. And it's not because it's my distaste for him, but it's just like
nothing
outside
there.
of
one of the
Jones
better running back duos inside the football league. But other than that,
I mean they're worth drafting. I mean Christian Watson maybe worth drafting depending on how good Jordan Love is. Outside of that, I'm not touching anything. All right, last and I know certainly not least. Show that hat off, Ian. Let them see the hat. There we go. Bear down. Justin Fields. So I'm gonna try to put my bias aside here. So Justin Fields definitely had great value last year because the floor was so high. They after the Washington game, that man became unlocked. Like they just let him run all over the place. They just told him to make plays. Like, look, our offense is not great. Just go out there and do your thing. And he did his thing. And he did it for a long stretch of time last year. So I'm gonna ask questions along the way, and then I'll let you all answer it. Can Justin Fields, be top 5 quarterback this year? DJ Moore. That man, I feel like what DJ Moore does to Justin is what probably Calvin Ridley is gonna do to Trevor. Maybe what Diggs did to Josh. Getting that perennial wide receiver. What Amari Cooper did to Dak at one point. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm hoping that's what it is. The running back situation, that is, in all honesty, that's up in the air.
Yeah.
As of right now, because all of them are competing for the starting job between Khalil Herbert, between the guy we signed from Carolina. I can't even think of his name right now.
Deontay Foreman.
Yep. And between the rookie that we drafted that was backing up, what's his name from? Yes. I don't know. My head just empty this morning. But anyways, I feel like, and then of course they signed Tunyon to go alongside Cole Kmet. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is there's going to be probably a good, at least when it's all said and done, at least 3 players that you could probably draft from this team this year that you could probably insert in your lineup each and every week. And I'm very excited for that quarterback wide receiver duo for real. But I guess back to the original question, can Justin Fields be a top 5 quarterback this year in fantasy?
I think so. Like I stated earlier with, guys like Lamar and, guys that can be mobile and Josh Allen. Anytime you got a, quarterback like that, I feel like it's always a grab. Just, those are added points and, added rushing touchdowns, and you can put the ball through the air, stay off the turnover list. I think it could be I'm expecting it to be a big year for him. We did get DJ Moore, so that should open up things on offense. I think my sleeper pick from the Bears would Actually, Cole Kmet, they had a pretty good run last year toward the end of the season. Going from Cole Kmet like a couple years ago, I don't even think he had a touchdown in the season. And
Correct.
within like a 6 game, I think within like 6 games, he had about 5 to 6 touchdowns. So I feel like if they, keep that same energy this year, I feel like Cole Kmet could be a sleeper pick with even with them, bringing Tunyon in. I think it could be a sleeper pick for me because all the all the energy is going to be on DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Claypool and those guys. If Claypool makes it to the season, that's another story. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like Cole Kmet could be the sleeper pick, and I'm not even a big Cole Kmet fan, but he could be a sleeper pick. It seems like him and Justin has pretty good chemistry.
Does seem that way. Sean, what are you thinking?
Can he be a top 5 quarterback in fantasy football? Of course he can, Jamar. Of course he can. You want to know why I say that? Because of everything that you guys are pretty much saying. His ability to utilize his legs. Like the dude had more 50-yard runs and like explosive touchdowns than anybody in the league last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So you giving that. Look, here's the thing. I don't want him to do that too much. Like,
Correct.
I don't want him to do that too much. You guys got a revamped offensive line, right? I've been watching y'all closely, man, because I said that toward the end of the season. Jamar, you were adamant about, like we got so much money to do this. We need to do this. We need to do that. So I've been monitoring like you guys' moves, but one move is going to need to be made. And I'm going to tell you guys here shortly. But besides that, you bring in DJ Moore, true number 1 wide receiver, right? He's been extremely solid. And that may be the one thing that he needs to get that push to even QB3 overall status. And I think that that's doable with the way how he utilizes his legs. You got Darnell Mooney there. He'll go back to, playing like that true slot position, which, he's best at. Speedy guy. But the one thing that you guys need to do, man, look, you guys need to let go of Chase Claypool. I'm telling you. I don't think it's gonna work, bro. Now there's been reports about you guys saying it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It was some guys inside of you guys' camp saying that he's the softest, most weirdest route runner at 6'4". Like that's what I heard. So it was one thing for us to notice that and to kind of ship him away. And then, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of why we got rid of him in the fashion that we did, because you look at a 6'4" receiver and you think like he's 6'4", he's speedy, he can jump out the gym. Basically, he's an athlete, but he's such an unpolished wide receiver, and his hands aren't, just sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. But I'm hearing reports about you guys unhappy about him. So you may have to do something else at that true wide out position. Now, I get it. Darnell Mooney is your guys' wide receiver 2 on the depth chart right now. But for someone to be able to play on the opposite side of a DJ Moore, while you guys have your speedy guy in the slot. So that may be something that you need to fine tune the offense to be able to push you guys over the next level. But kudos to your linebacking core that you guys had, man. Fantastic. Dude, they're going to be wreaking havoc, bro. Like, seriously. And you guys got to, like myself and my Steelers, hashtag Steeler Nation, hashtag here we go. You guys got a revamped offensive line as well. So
we do. I want to address 2 things that Ray said real quick. One, he said, wow, I know you're a Bears fan, but I think many are sleeping on Green Bay. Now, that may be true. When it's all said and done, that may be true.
Are you willing to take a choice? Yeah, are you willing to take a chance on them when it's other guys already up on the board? That's the thing.
And I guess that goes back to what I was mentioning earlier, the value. Do you value these? Like, where do you value these guys? Like Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, those are guys I feel like worth taking. Christian Watson may be a guy worth taking. I mean, Romeo Dobbs, I don't know. Jordan Love, I'm not rolling the dice on that yet. I don't even know who their tight end is. Their defense, I mean, at times they could be great. At times it could be bad. Outside of, Zaire Alexander at this point and Rashad Gray, Quay Walker. I mean, outside of those guys, I mean, I don't know. But just in general, as far as fantasy players, it's just more so a wait and see approach for me. I mean, just taking my fandom out the way is just more so because I mean, if a Green Bay Packers player is really good to me and he's there, I'm gonna take him. I could care less as far as my fandom when it comes to fantasy.
Oh yeah, that goes out the window.
Yeah, and then he also said, I guess as far as Fields, the arm and accuracy is my only question with Fields. Now, I would say Ian has known Justin Fields maybe a little bit longer than the rest of us since it goes back to the Ohio State days, but I would say Justin Fields definitely has an arm. The arm is there.
Oh yeah.
The accuracy in the intermediate is there. It was just more so the short accuracy for me last year that was frustrating because it was times, even at the game that I went to, that I froze my behind off for about a good 3 quarters. He missed. It's like the short accuracy. He missed the simple ones, the layups per se, right? Those are the ones you got to make. So I'm just hearing great things from him in camp. But I mean, you take everything with anybody with a grain of salt from camp because it's camp.
Yeah,
it's OTAs.
It's on air, no pads, no real pressure. So I think that the accuracy is there. I just think, he's missed throws that, you'd be like, come on, Justin, I've seen you make these throws. I've seen you make awesome throws, like unbelievable throws. Like, come on, dude. So I just think just patience and maybe a little happy feet. So I think, stuff like that, he'll get better. I think we'll see a big jump.
Yeah. And I also say, last year, it's like, me personally, I couldn't fully evaluate him as a passer because of a lot of things that was pulling him down between the offensive line and between the wide receivers couldn't gain separation. It took a while. So he ended up holding on to the ball a lot longer than you would want as a quarterback. So, I mean, that was one thing that was like, he was getting criticized for holding on to the ball. What do you want him to do? Just throw the ball and for a pick?
Yeah.
At that point. So it's like this year, like the excuses go out the window because they addressed a lot of needs. I feel like guys will be open, yada, yada, yada. And then Ray said Green Bay drafted 2 tight ends in the first 3 rounds.
Did they really?
I mean, I would imagine those may have some value depending on who may step up because, young quarterback, tight end, that's usually, a thing.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll definitely see. But yeah, are we sleeping on Green Bay? Possibly so. Do we have a right to sleep on Green Bay? Yes, we do. That's how I feel about it.
I don't know. It felt like you had like a little bit of extra sauce on that one, Jamar.
Oh, did I?
Just because it's Green Bay. Yeah, that's what we kind of. So I'm with you, Ray. I'm with you, bro. I feel like he put a little bit of extra sauce on
it. See, I feel like this is gonna be a theme this year because it's 2 Bears fans, so you might have to gang up on us a couple of times, but it's cool. It's cool. NFC South. I'm gonna let Deshaun let you start with the Atlanta Falcons. Give me 30 seconds real quick, but just break down the Falcons for us.
Yeah, sure thing. See, the thing with the Falcons is we already know what Bijan Robinson brings to the table. They got a very, very solid tight end. And what's the kid from Florida name?
Kyle Pitts.
Yep. Kyle Pitts. And also Drake London.
Yeah.
He's there. So, but 9 times out of 10, this is a team that's going to want to run the football. So I see Bijan Robinson and being as like just the do-it-all guy. We already know he can catch out of the backfield. We already know that he's, his build is similar to Saquon Barkley's, who they've been comparing him to, who, was arguably one of the best running back prospects out of the past couple of years. And they're basically saying the same thing about Bijan. So I think this is going to be the Bijan Robinson show. He made a name for himself in college, and he was more than deserving to be the number 1 running back taken in the draft this year. And lucky for me, I landed him in Dynasty, so I'll have that young man for like the rest of his career on my football team. So I'm rooting for him, man. But it's just the quarterback position that I'm unsure about, Ian. Like, I'm not sure about what they're gonna do there. I think is it Desmond Ritter?
Desmond Ritter.
Desmond Ritter is there, and if that was the case, if they felt so secure with Ritter, like they wouldn't have signed Marcus Mariota at the beginning of last season, and like Marcus Mariota actually beat him out at camp. Now, like I'm hearing like the rumblings that they want to, go back to Ritter, but I just don't know how well that's going to play out, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's my main concern for Atlanta. Like you said, it's probably going to be the Bijan Robinson show, being that he's a stud at running back.
Yeah.
But also he's a rookie, and you need a quarterback to kind of take the pressure off of him. And I don't know if Desmond Ritter is that guy. Apparently, they feel like he's that guy. I think Kyle Pitts is coming off injury, so that's something to look out for. But I'll definitely take a chance on Kyle Pitts. He's a great talent. Can basically do it all. My sleeper pick will probably be Drake London. I like Drake London a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the thing about, it's the quarterback situation. You need somebody to get him the ball. I think that would be my hypothesis. I think Drake London will be my sleeper. I do think it would be the Bijan Robinson show there. It's just what are they doing at quarterback? Are they really believing in Desmond Ritter, or is this just a thing to kind of get through the year and kind of look at somebody else coming out next year?
I mean, that is the question. Is it going to be Ritter or is it going to be Shane Falco, also known as Taylor Heineke? It's going to be like, who is it? I mean, if I had to choose between the two, I'm choosing Shane Falco. But nevertheless, Bijan Robinson, I'm pretty sure, like Deshaun probably mentioned earlier, and you mentioned as well, that's a stud. That's the guy that's going to be sought after in these drafts. I just hope that he doesn't turn into Najee Harris when you know what I mean, right? The hype about it, and then you draft him as your RB1, and he ends up being low end RB2. And that hurts you big time.
All right.
That's the one thing that I hope that does not happen, because other than that, I mean, the way he runs the ball, his instincts, his vision, his physical, prowess, like everything is there. It is. So yeah, I'm definitely high on him. Drake London, like you all mentioned. I mean, just get somebody that can get him the ball. Because who was that? Marcus Mariota initially last year. That kind of screwed up his value.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping, Drake London is a stud, and I feel like just get him the ball.
I just look while we still discussing Atlanta, I just don't agree with the rankings. Like, look, if Bijan could, be fantastic this year, that's great because I drafted the kid. But at the same time, for these experts and these fantasy gurus to have him at number 2, like the running back, without him playing the NFL game yet, like
that's a
like
lot.
Yeah, man, like that's a lot of pressure. It's Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson. If you go to any fantasy page, like that's exactly how they have it. I wouldn't be that guy. I would not take him in a standard fantasy league unless it's like dynasty. Like I would not take him that high. I would still I need to see it first. You know what I mean?
So, all right. So inadvertently, I wasn't planning on this, but you kind of activated my trap card here.
Okay.
This or that with Bijan Robinson.
Let's do it.
So, all right. So both of y'all, Christian McCaffrey or Bijan?
Christian McCaffrey.
Team easy.
All right. Derrick Henry or Bijan?
Bar in the situation. Oh, they're almost in the same situation. But I'm gonna go Derrick Henry just because of that experience. Like Deshaun said, I have to see it first. I got to see him perform first.
I'm with you, bro. I'm gonna slight edge though.
Yeah.
Slight edge to Derrick Henry here. So I don't know who you about to say next, Jamar, but it better be good.
Jonathan Taylor or Bijan Robinson?
Ooh. JT Money. Give me JT Money.
Jamar. I'm gonna go Bijan on this one.
I ain't mad at it, bro. I am not mad at it.
Okay. Joe Mixon or Bijan?
Oof.
Give me Joe. Give me Joe. That offense is already established there. They're gonna need that to mellow out. Give me Joe. I'm taking Joe Mixon over Bijan.
Yeah, I'll take Joe too.
Ooh-wee. Let's see. I know I'm forgetting somebody out here.
Don't say him. Don't say who I think you're gonna say.
Josh Jacobs or Bijan?
Ooh.
Josh, easy. Josh is consistent. He's been consistent since he's been in the league. I'm gonna take Josh.
Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna go Bijan. I'm gonna go Bijan. This is the first time I say his name, so I'm gonna go Bijan. You missing another name, Jamar, too.
Yeah.
Austin Eckler.
Damn.
Or Bijan?
Austin Eckler, not even, no question.
Yeah, I'll take
no question about it.
Nick Chubb or Bijan?
There's the name. Nick Chubb.
Chubb. I'm gonna take Chubb. Nah, that's not who I was thinking about.
Saquon
Barkley. There you go. I knew it was coming. I'm gonna take Saquon because Saquon is Saquon, and they're comparing Bijan to Saquon. So I'm gonna take Saquon.
I'm gonna go Saquon too, but that's not who I thought you was gonna say.
I got a couple more names left on this list that I just happen to pull up a list so I don't forget anybody. Let's see, Alvin Kamara.
That's the name.
Bijan.
I love AK. I think I'm gonna take AK.
All right, I'm gonna run. Let me see. Two more names here.
Okay.
Najee Harris or Bijan?
Bijan.
Okay. And then DeAndre Swift or Bijan?
Oh, that's tough. Cause new city, new offense. That's tough.
I'm gonna say Bijan because I don't think DeAndre Swift has ever rushed for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bijan as well because he's gonna be for sure the number one. I don't know how he's gonna DeAndre Swift's gonna be used in Philly, so I'll take Bijan.
What I feel like what makes that really tough is a high power offense with a lot of weapons as opposed to an offense that mid at best with a lot of question marks, right? That's probably what makes it a little interesting.
Yeah.
So you all did well. I know I threw you to the ringer there, but I guess needless to say, consensus is he is a mid RB1 at worst, low end RB1 right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just don't agree with the top two, man. I don't agree with that.
That's a little steep.
Yeah, that is. New Orleans. They traded for a guy. His name is Derek Carr, also known as Booty Cheeks from last year.
Cheeks, my boy Cheeks, man.
So Cheeks is under center in New Orleans, and right now I feel like they are the team by default to win that division. When everybody's healthy. I know you got some Carolina blood in you down there, but you got Kamara, who now last year, we was, up in the air of is he gonna play because of the potential suspension that may come from that whole incident.
Yeah.
And now that might actually be a thing here because I think that whole trial thing or whatnot is coming up or something. So
yeah.
So he's a question mark. They did sign Jamal Williams, who was a touchdown machine last year.
Yeah,
he just runs with grit per se. Dude, I don't want to say this because I saw this meme. It's like funny, not funny.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was in regards to DeMar Hamlin saying that man like passed away and came back before Michael Thomas came back on the field. I mean, look, it's just more so. I really don't remember the last time I seen Michael Thomas on the field for like a month in a row. I just don't. But he's supposed to be back.
Yeah.
Chris Olave was a very good addition last year. He did his thing.
Another Ohio State guy, man.
Yeah.
Pumping him out.
Mm-hmm.
Taysom Hill at tight end, Swiss Army knife. He has value at times. Just all in all here, anybody that sticks out in a good way for you for this Saints team.
Chris Olave, a lot, man, a lot. Like it's, dude, he can give you high end wide receiver 2 numbers. Just like seriously, like he already finished with like 1,000 yards. They already had like that quarterback mix up like a bunch last season. Like who played? Like wasn't it the Red Rifle that played for them last year?
Yeah, he played some time too.
Yeah, so it's even with that, even with him playing, you know how I feel about the Rusty Rifle. So it's I think Chris Olave can be very, very good, man. And it's something in the water at Ohio State and them wide receivers, bro. It's like we've been naming them all day. So yeah, Chris Olave for me. Alvin Kamara can be Alvin Kamara, but it's just he got that ongoing situation, and he's gonna always have fantasy value when he's healthy as well. So I think those are the 2 names that's gonna stick out for me. Anybody else, I kind of gonna stay away from.
Really quick, before I let you go in, Alvin Kamara, he was disappointing last year, and it was due to more so
injury.
I think that and also quarterback play.
Yeah.
Because, in years past, Kamara would have a lot of value in the passing game for sure.
A lot.
And it wasn't really there. And so I think Derek Carr, as booty cheeks as he may be, but I think he would boost up that part of Kamara's game. But Ian, who do you see sticks out to you? Is it Olave as well?
Yeah. Well, I think Olave could be a very good flex, or like Deshaun stated too, for sure. I think he should have a big year. I mean, hoping that Derek Carr he comes in, produces pretty well. Mr. Booty Cheek, if you would like to call him. But he should have a good year. We don't know how AK is going to be with that situation. I don't know if he's going to be suspended. Hopefully he stays healthy. We haven't seen Michael Thomas, and he's got a contract extension, so we don't know how that's going to go. Got the $100 million, and now his feet don't work anymore. So I don't know. I don't know. He's up in there. You know what? This could be a good comeback year for him. Hopefully, but we'll see. I mean, that's up in the air.
Look, I took a chance on drafting him last year late, even though I knew that he was going to miss a bunch of games, and I that ain't happening again. So I'm staying away from him, bro.
Yeah,
he ain't going on my bus or anything like that, because I would love to see him make a comeback, especially from the type of injury that he has had. But nah.
Yeah, agreed. I'll stay away from him.
And this is one of the sneaky players that may end up on my radar.
Yep.
Just because he's been written off, and I think the tweak is, besides him actually maybe wanting to play football, I would take Derek Carr as their quarterback over the other 2 that they had last year. So I don't know. And then they also had John Gruden come in and structure the offense scheme. So I don't know. Anyway, that team is interesting. I could be real quick with Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield's the quarterback. There you go. So take everything with a grain of salt. So I don't know how I feel about. Go ahead.
The only positive I probably see is Mike Evans. His worst bet is throw it down there. Mike Evans down somewhere. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Dude, it's horrible. Like I don't even know where I would draft Mike Evans right now.
Yeah,
and I'm not gonna put y'all through the ringer on that one right now. I'll leave that one to be. We'll probably talk about that closer to the season. So him and Godwin, I don't know. Rashad White, I don't know. He probably might have some consistent value here, but other
Yeah.
than that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's almost like the wait and see approach. You know what I mean? Like
Like
you can't
Green
be,
Bay.
yeah, you can't really be too certain about that one. But the thing about it is, I don't know, man. It's just I love Godwin, like I do, I love a healthy Godwin, so I would probably take Godwin over Mike Evans because Mike Evans has been kind of more so like that deep threat or red zone threat. And with Baker Mayfield, under center, I think it's going to be a lot of Chris Godwin. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I think outside of those, the two wide receivers who's been pretty productive over the last 5 seasons or so. Anyone else like you'll be reaching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And I know years ago we used to say Chris Carson was the poster child for RB2, like consistent RB2. And I feel like Godwin is the poster child for a consistent wide receiver too.
Yeah,
Like,
you know what you're gonna get out of him. Yeah.
Yep.
like that consistency that I had him in that 16 teamer last year, dude, that meant so much to me every week. It's like I knew what I was gonna get. Like you said, I knew it.
Yep.
I was gonna get that 12 to 16 point range about every game. And in a deep league like that, I need every one of those. So
Yeah.
and then last but not least, very interesting team, the Carolina Panthers here. Um, number one overall pick, Bryce Young. I heard he's turning heads in a good way. You signed Miles Sanders. That's a sneaky good pickup. You signed Adam Thielen because outside of that, I thought they was, thrown into your local YMCA group of guys. um, I mean, it's Chuba? Is Chuba Hubbard their RB1?
It'll probably be by committee. I mean, Miles Sanders for sure.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot. I mentioned Miles Sanders. My bad. It's just the lack of personnel with this team. I feel like Miles Sanders and maybe just Miles Sanders is really worthy of drafting. Maybe Adam Thielen, maybe not. I don't know. Terrence Marshall, that's another guy, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Terry Marshall, and I think that they drafted Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver as well. Don't
Mm.
quote me on that, but I think that they did draft him. I gotta
But
double check.
while you double check, Ian, what are your thoughts? What are your expectations with this group? Anybody that you feel like worth on your team this year?
You know what? I would probably take a chance on Bryce as the number two quarterback in the standard league, but it's just all about how well he adjusts to the NFL. Great talent. He can do it all. It's just smart kid. Just just how he adjusts. I'll definitely take a chance on Miles Sanders as well. Catch out the backfield. He can tote the rock. He can do it all. But Miles Sanders has just him staying healthy. Um, and I mean Adam Thielen. I think I would take Adam Thielen as a flex as well. Um, Rookie quarterback. I'm sure he's going to be a day one starter, and that's probably going to be his guy to rely on is Adam Thielen. Veteran, can get open, not the fastest, but not the slowest. He's just going to get the job done. Great route runner, good hands. So he'll probably will rely on him a lot. So I would definitely get Adam. Adam Thielen would be a damn good flex as a matter
I
of fact.
mean, I feel like Adam Thielen is a superb route runner because of the fact that Empty Calorie showed him how to run routes that one time. That was priceless.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
One thing that you Miles Sanders, the more I think about it, the more it sticks out to me. Deshaun,
Mhm.
with a healthy Miles Sanders, can he finish top 10?
No.
Ooh.
And running backs? You mean?
Yeah, RB1. Can he finish RB1? No.
Oh, can he finish as a RB1? Top 10? No. Nope.
Dang.
Nope. I don't believe so. And yeah, you're right. He is, at after training camp. So looks like Miles Sanders is listed first string. Chuba Hubbard is listed as second string. And yeah, a name that we didn't mention, which this is still a pretty formidable group here. Terrence Marshall Jr., DJ Chark, which we didn't mention,
Oh,
Adam Thielen, and tight end Hayden Hurst. So that's not a bad group there. And you still got Laviska Shenault coming in at second string to spell DJ Chark, and the rookie Jonathan Mingo, who's been turning heads in camp. So he was drafted there, like I thought. Jonathan Mingo is like right behind Terrence Marshall Jr. as that X wide receiver there. So that's not a bad wide receiver group. I know it ain't no names that's gonna blow you away, but those are guys who can be consistent and get the job done. So I guess I can see why Ian was kind of excited about his boy CJ Stroud there. I mean Bryce Young. So I don't know. Maybe this could be one of those sneaky good teams. Like the defense isn't extremely terrible, man. Here,
yeah.
No,
like they got some names, and like I'm looking at it, you got Bryce Young still listed as QB1 as of right now. Andy Dalton QB2. That's not a bad 1-2 punch, just in case that Young doesn't get the job done. But they got a decent group of pass catchers, though. Seriously,
why is Andy Dalton always find his way to rookie quarterbacks in the
Crazy,
like, bro? He's steady finding jobs like that. I mean, get to the money, my guy. But man, that rifle needs to be put down. Oh man! All right, we gonna go to an interesting division here, the NFC East. A few years ago, we was calling it the NFC Least. Now the NFC Beast. I don't know. I don't know.
Basically, man.
Yeah.
Crazy how that happens. Spin the wheel. We're gonna start with the Giants, the G-men. The one thing to take away from this team right now is Saquon Barkley. He's probably not showing up without a deal, even though he's franchise tag, but he ain't showing up, man. And I was so mad at the last hour to where they got a deal done with Daniel Jones and they tagged Saquon. Because, yeah, even though we technically didn't need a running back, but he probably would have ended up here if he didn't get tagged. And I would have loved it. That's my favorite running back in the league. But nevertheless, Saquon Barkley had a sensational year last year because he was actually healthy. He was healthy. A healthy Saquon goes a long way. And that was one of the guys that I drafted last year in that 16-team league because the value was so diminished from his previous couple of years that people were staying away from. And that's a prime example of a guy that basically carried me to a championship game that got debunked because of this, the situation. But anyway, outside of Saquon, they did trade it for Darren Waller, so that gives Daniel Jones a weapon there. The wide receiver room is very suspect, but nevertheless, this was a playoff team. So outside of the Saquon situation, is there anybody on this team that is worth drafting? Is Waller the baller worth drafting?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now, where is he worth drafting? I guess more so, where do you rank him? Top 5? Top 10?
I would say top 10. Top 10 for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same. I'm gonna say the same. I think he got top 5 potential for sure, just because of we know how dynamic he can be, and especially inside of a receiving core that no one has really stepped up and say like, hey, I'm the guy. Maybe Waller can be there for Danny Dimes or whatever. But I mean, he ain't getting no younger, man. Waller is getting up there in age. Whatever, he's been in the league, like he's definitely a true veteran. I think they got what was the guy name who just kind of came on the scene? Isaiah Hodgins. Like he was pretty good down the stretch for them, as well as they still got Darius Slayton and they drafted. Dang it, what was the guy who they drafted? They drafted a wide receiver too. I gotta double check that one as well.
Guy from Tennessee, one of Biletnikoff. Jalen Hyatt.
There you go. Yep. So, but like Jamar said, it's it's pretty lackluster group of wide receivers there, man. It's hopefully one of those guys can assert himself.
Yeah.
And like Ray said, Giants overpaid on the contract with Danny Dimes.
Absolutely.
But it's like I feel like you're not paid what you're worth, but you pay what the market allows you to get paid.
Yep.
So I mean, all this does is just better than the next person that's about to get paid with stuff like this. But yeah, man, Giants fantasy wise, if Saquon's playing, if Saquon's on the field, of course, you're drafting Saquon.
Yep.
Darren Waller, absolutely, because I feel like volume should be there, if anything, for Waller, the former baller. We can't call him a baller right now. the retired baller. I don't know. But yeah, outside of that, there's going to be opportunity for that wide receiver group, somebody to step up and be that guy. There's this because Slayton has had his chances, and I don't think it's going to be him. And he is who he is. Everybody else, they have a chance to make a name for themselves. I guess we can go with the Cowboys.
Cowgirls.
Free Tony Pollard. Now he's coming off an ACL injury, but when he's back on the field, we finally got this man on lock, like officially. Because the eye test has shown for the last 2.5 years that Tony is that guy.
He's the number one guy. He's the number one guy for sure.
So, how would you draft Tony Pollard this year?
That's kind of tough. Do we know exactly how many games that he'll miss, if any?
I think that's up in the air.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth about that as well. And me and Keelan discussed it with him being an Eagles fan. I kind of like to rub that in his face a little bit. But it's kind of weird because he owns them in our dynasty league too. So he owns Tony Pollard, which is kind of weird. But I think Tony Pollard has the potential to be a top 10 running back if, let's just say hypothetically, like he plays every game this season.
Right.
For a 17-game full season. Yeah, he got the potential to be a top 10, and he probably will finish inside the top 10, depending. He's just that good. He's explosive out the backfield when he catches the football. And he can run in between the tackles like nobody's business, and he's always a threat to score from deep as well. So I like Tony Pollard a lot. Just got to, monitor like that injury situation once it gets closer toward the season.
Fair enough. And CeeDee Lamb, that man came to play last year. Initially, we was scratching our heads, but they got it together quickly, and he turned out to be everything they expect. CeeDee Lamb, is he finishing top 5 this year?
Top 5? I don't know. That's tough. I would say top 10 is possible. Top 5, I don't know. It's crazy. Shannon Sharp called him out last year. He stepped up, man. CD, he stepped up. So I would say top 10. I think my sleeper pick on that offense. He's coming off an injury last year. It would be probably Michael Gallup. He just seems pretty reliable for that whenever he needs him. Last year, not so much. Coming off an injury, but I would say Michael Gallup.
Real quick, Ray said I see Pollard as a late second or third pick in 12-team leagues. As in, RBs always go early.
That's a good spot to pick him. Yeah. I completely agree. But come on, Ian, man. Like, listen, look, I'm going to kind of go to bat for my boy CD because I got him in Dynasty League, Jamar, as you know. And last time I checked, he did finish as a top 5 wide receiver last year. You want to know what he finished? He finished right at number 5 in the PPR league. So let me pull it up. He finished over names like Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, even though Jamar Chase missed a couple of games. So that would probably maybe bump him out because we already know Jamar. Oh my God, dude, man, like it just had to be today, bro. Man, he finished higher than names over DK Metcalf and T Higgins, but CeeDee Lamb finished top 5, rounding out the names with Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and CeeDee Lamb number 5.
Sheesh. That's heavy company. One
Don't
thing
stand up again, Jamar.
Oh man. One thing to point out here is Dallas did trade for Brandon Cooks this offseason. So
and that opens up Lamb too, man. I'm telling you.
Deep threat. Take the top off the defense. Sure.
Now, my last question with the Cowboys or Cowgirls per se, um, Dak Prescott. Where are we drafting Dak? Is it but more so? Is Dak a QB1 this year?
He is by default though. He really is because of the volume. Like we can't mention that one enough, but man, he's like back end though because it's like for every good throw, Dak makes a bad throw. You know what I mean? And it just seems like at like the worst times too. He got all the potential in the world, and like he'll have a stretch where he'll blow your mind. Then he'll have a stretch where you want to say that, hey, where's Cooper Rush again? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy. Like you wouldn't have to question that if you were out there getting the job done consistently. That's the only thing that like Dak has like a knock with is consistently. So if he can do it consistently, yeah, like it'll be a no-brainer. But I'm gonna say by default, yeah, he's still a QB1,
man. You feel the same way, Ian?
Yeah, but like Deshaun stated, he wouldn't be like my first thought. If all the quarterbacks were taken and he was left, I would take him. But I'll definitely take him like over guys like guys like Baker Mayfield and guys like that for sure. To be honest, I'll probably even take him over like speaking Derek Carr.
Yeah,
like you stated, it's just inconsistent. He'll give you those 4 or 5 games where he blow your mind. He'll like an MVP candidate.
Yep.
So for the next 6, 7, 8 games, he won't pass over 180 yards. So,
I mean, where's the lie? Ray says, "Sorry, I'm only one expressing my opinions, but I am enjoying the banter. No need to be sorry, Ray. We love the interaction, man. Express your opinions. That's what makes this a lot of fun."
Facts.
So I guess we did the Cowboys, we did the Giants.
Should be NFC West, right?
No, we got 2 more teams.
Eagles. The rest.
Yeah, we can get it. We got Eagles and the Commanders. No, we can go Eagles real quick. Jalen Hurts, he's hurting them. He is hurting them. Jalen Hurts, that's a top 5 quarterback. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Top three.
There you go. We basically what's understood ain't got to be explained with him.
Nope.
He's in that category. They did trade for DeAndre Swift. I feel like that is I feel like that's an upgrade for him. It is more, but I guess with him, it comes down to health. Him staying on the field. If he's healthy, that man's a monster. I guess AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I mean, you can put that in the same category. What's understood ain't got to be explained. Tight end Goddard. My gosh, I mean, what's understood ain't got to be explained. I guess basically just comes back to DeAndre Swift here, the new face. I mean, new face, old face, and new face. So
it's just like Cincinnati. You want all those guys, man. You want all of them. You want all of them. All of them have some fantasy value, and a couple of them have tremendous fantasy value. So this is one of your teams. Just pick everybody at those starting positions, and you won't go wrong.
You're right, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this is Ray's team too, the Eagles. If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, like you said, just draft them. You'll be happy. Keep it moving. Like Eagles, good job. And then the Commanders. So the news headline that I saw yesterday, or was it Friday? As you know, Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator there now.
Yeah.
And there's rumblings of Kareem Hunt may end up there. And Kareem Hunt had his best years with Bieniemy in Kansas City.
That would be an awesome pickup.
That would make things very, very interesting in that backfield, because they already had the rookie from last year. I can't think of his name.
Brian Robinson.
There you go. And you had Antonio Gibson, who, at times is brilliant.
He lost his job too, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild. And then they had, what was it McKenzie?
Yep, JD McKissick there for some years, but he's not there anymore.
Yeah, so so it's like, so that's interesting to me. The quarterback is going to be Sam Howell. You got Scary Terry, Curtis Samuel. I think tight end is still Logan Thomas. I don't know, like outside of McLaurin, because he's going to turn out to be one of those DeAndre Hopkins type guys to where it don't matter who's throwing you the ball. I mean,
Yeah, that
he
sucks.
might still get his.
Hate to see stuff like that.
Yeah. So outside of McLaurin, is there any expectation for anybody on this team that basically is anybody else worthy to be on your team at this point?
I'm gonna say yeah, Jamar and here's why. So remember, I mentioned a sleeper prior toward the season last year in Dynasty Football.
Yes.
And what is his name, Jamar? Jahan Dotson.
Jahan Dotson. Yes.
And I kind of expect him to take a larger leap this year. And I swear, if they had a better quarterback, like I would be a little bit more high on him. But like the guy can get in the end zone. Like that's one thing that he can do. I was high on him. I took a pick on him. In our dynasty league. Oh yeah, for sure. It's like they got one of the better wide receiver duos. Like they up there with
that's a top 3 duo to me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like they just like Waddle and Hill and Higgins and
Chase.
Yep, they right up there with them. But yeah, it's I like Dotson a lot, and hopefully he'll be able to take that next leap. You already know McLaurin opens things up for him, but I think they got a very strong wide receiver too. Now I'm not calling him a wide receiver too as far as fantasy wise, but that's definitely someone to keep an eye on, especially in deeper leagues like your 16 team, Rich Warren.
Absolutely. Anybody for you, Ian?
I didn't think about Jahan Dotson. He could be a pretty good flex. The other person I did was my go-to for in the past years, but like Deshaun State lost his job was Antonio Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
From his rookie year, he was exceptional. He was my sleeper and my go-to. Every league I was in, he was my go-to. And except probably this last 2 years, it was I don't know what's been going on. So yeah, I think probably like you said, Jahan Dotson will probably be. I think he'll be a great flex.
Yeah, I think he scored 3 touchdowns for me and you, Jamar, right? Antonio Gibson did his rookie year. I think it was
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving Day game. Yep.
I was so thankful that day. Man, I was sitting there eating my food, watching it, just excited after every touchdown. I almost lost.
Win for the trifecta, man. Yeah,
dude, that was great. All right, so we gonna keep it moving because we definitely want to get finished here soon. Last division, the NFC West. Look, I can make the Cardinals real quick. All right, we're done with the Cardinals. So the Seahawks. No, as far as the Cardinals, the only thing to mention, Kyler Murray's still recovering from ACL injury. That's it. Keep it moving. I mean, ain't nothing else really to say.
Yeah.
It's really not.
And then blew it up over there.
Yeah, I guess maybe James Conner. Good luck with that. Seattle. Geno still got his job. Geno out here balling. Geno earned the bag. Kudos to him. The running back situation I feel like is very interesting because they got Kenneth Walker, who was great last year before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Rashad Penny's no longer there. He's actually with the Eagles. So, just keep that in mind. They did draft another running back, and I drafted him in Dynasty, and I can't think of his name, but I feel like, the backfield is like whoever gets the job is usually the productive one.
Yeah.
The timeshare isn't really like the greatest, but whoever gets the job, that's what it is. DK and Lockett still doing their thing. So basically the players that you had last year, are we good with the same players this year?
Yeah, basically up on this football team for sure. It's just who would have thought that freaking Geno Smith would finish as the top 5 quarterback in fantasy? And if you said that, you lying. If you said yeah, you're lying.
Joe, you're right. Because when I had Geno in our 2 quarterback league, I'm pretty sure I picked him up off the waivers. He wasn't drafted.
I do have a sleeper for the Seahawks. If Geno can produce and keep it going, rookie to look out for is Jackson Smith and Jigba. Another one.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot he went there.
Yeah.
That is
As a number 3, him, Tyler Lockett, and DK. That could, if Geno can put in work like he did last year, that could be scary.
that is Walker. No, we mentioned Walker. I know he got hurt last year, but they drafted a rookie. So it's crazy because just think about it. Like 4 years ago, when Rashad Penny was drafted, he was a first-round pick, right?
Yep.
But yet, it was Chris Carson, the undrafted guy, that took over the backfield in Seattle. That was the poster child RB2 for fantasy. It's crazy. I just hope Walker is healthy and has his job back. I just don't want to see him lose his job due to injury. That's my only thing with Walker.
Yeah, it was. I think the running back was the UCLA Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet. I think that's his name. And
it was an interesting name. That's what I remember.
Yeah, so let's make no mistake about it. He is good. He's pretty damn good, Jamar. But this is Skywalker's backfield to lose, basically.
I hope so. I like Sky. I like Skywalker. The Niners. Good old Niners. A boy, Brock Purdy. I think she's Purdy. I think he's apparently on pace to week 1.
Yeah, crazy, right? The heck they gonna do with Trey Lance, man?
Get rid of him.
Hey, send him to Tennessee. They need a quarterback. I know they got 3 unknowns, but they need one. Matter of fact, make it more. I'll leave Tennessee alone. I'm sorry. But I mean, we got Elijah Mitchell, we got Coach Christian McCaffrey, you got Debo, you got Ayuk, you got George Kittle. I mean, basically, this is one of those. Take your players and be happy.
Yep, pretty much everybody, bro.
Yep. And then you got the Rams.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, of course.
That's it, I guess.
Cam Akers. Cam Akers went through a whole cycle last year. Went from entering the campus to being the number 1 to about to be traded and released to getting the job back by the end of the year. It was wild. But he's their guy at running back for now. It might change next week, but who knows?
Dude, it was so roller coaster last year.
Dude, and I had him in Dynasty. I was getting ready to point to where I was about to just like forget about the dude. Then I had to end up playing him at the end of the year. Like, what in the world? But yeah. Just lastly, we'll come back to this division. This is the last division because we started, but we ain't finished. I just realized that. Chargers. So basically, I think it's pretty much the same nutshell as what we mentioned between Herbert, Eckler, Allen, and Williams.
Mike Williams.
Basically, take them, be happy type deal.
Yep.
All right.
All starters, man.
Yep. Keep it moving. The Raiders, they signed Jimmy G, but I mean, the man may fail physical. He may have a contract. I don't know. Anyway, Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams are your guys.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. In Kansas City, I mean, my homeboy, Kelsey. Pacheco might have some value.
Pacheco should have some. Man, that dude runs hard, man. That dude runs hard, man. I like him a lot. So hopefully he'll be able to be picked off a couple of boards because I think he deserves it.
I think that's could he become the Chris Carson?
I mean, ain't they similar though? Like the way that they run the football is very, very similar. It's just I think Chris Carson is just he probably scores a little bit more touchdowns than he does. And Kansas City is more so of a throwing team. You know what I mean? So,
but it's like he has that explosiveness. He can break away.
yep,
Yeah.
he really can.
Actually,
So,
the person for Kansas City. I think he'll have a bigger role this year as Kadarius Toney. I think.
Man, I hope so. I was waiting on it last year, bro. It never came, but man.
it didn't come in the regular season, but it came in the playoffs though.
Oh
That's what
yeah,
it
for
was.
sure. But that ain't gonna help me up in the fantasy playoffs.
No. And they got him for a steal against the Giants. Giants front office is stupid. But anyway,
Yep.
Sky Moore, maybe he might become a thing. I mean, outside of that, I mean, I think Pacheco for me, that's the one I'm gonna keep my eye on because I have Deshaun. Normally, I haven't done Mark. I would have been done plenty of mock drafts. I haven't done one yet. But I want
to. Not one mock draft.
That's because of
you behind, my guy.
Yeah, that's because of everything that's been going on.
Yeah. I get it.
But yeah, I'm gonna try to figure out a way how to get Pacheco on my team. That's gonna be one of the people I'm targeting this year. And that's something I normally don't like say out loud. So there you go. If I'm in the league with you this year, just that's one of my guys. I'm gonna see if I can figure it out. I'm not gonna overreach for him, but if he's there at the right time, best believe that's my guy. Yep. But fellas, I think that's about it. Unless I'm forgetting something that I didn't mention that y'all thinking about.
No.
I think that was pretty much it.
Cool. So once again, Ian, thank you for joining us this year.
For sure. Excited about it.
Deshaun, like always, man, what is this? Is this year number 4?
I think, yep, year 4, man.
Jeez. Okay, so all right, Ray, if you're still watching, we will probably be back in, I would say probably August.
Yep.
We'll be back in August.
Unless something like big happens, you know what I mean? And we just gotta address it. But yeah, definitely August.
But yeah, but we just definitely want to show our faces because it's definitely been a long time. Off season was fun. But yeah, if you got any of these people on your team, congratulations going forward. Man. But yeah, Ray says, thanks guys. Looking forward to see you in the future.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reed, where can they find us?
Basically find us anywhere where podcasts are being found. Amazon, Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You got it. We're basically there. And right now we are streaming live. We are streaming live up on YouTube, right? Just not Facebook. But once the season really kicks off, we'll be streaming up on both. So make sure that you guys check us out on any one of those platforms.
All right. So, once again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers and stuff.
For sure.
But yeah, see you in about a month from now. Until then, you all have a good one. Enjoy your day and peace.